The 2025 NFL season is barely past its halfway point, yet 6 teams already have 2 or fewer wins heading into Week 11, with 2 clubs having fired their head coaches. For these struggling franchises, the postseason is all but out of reach, but the upcoming offseason and 2026 NFL Draft offer a chance to turn things around. The team landing the #1 overall pick could completely reshape its future with one of the elite prospects available in late April. In this breakdown, we'll spotlight each team in contention for the top pick, examine their current records, and reveal where they would land in the draft if it were held today. Then, we'll dive into the best and worst case scenarios for these franchises, exploring the prospects that could either make or break their rebuilds. Number 1. We have the Las Vegas Raiders, a team trapped between ambition and reality in the race for the #1 pick of the 2026 NFL Draft. Despite hiring veteran coach Pete Carroll and trading for Geno Smith in hopes of quick success, the Raiders' 2-7 record reflects a franchise still searching for long-term stability. The best-case scenario for Las Vegas would be landing Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback who's been nothing short of electric this season, completing over 71% of his passes and piling up more than 2,300 yards through 10 games. Mendoza has proven himself as a polished passer with elite decision-making skills. Scouts rave about his composure under pressure and ability to deliver accurate throws even when the pocket collapses, traits that could immediately elevate a struggling offense. Drafting Mendoza would finally give Vegas the true franchise quarterback it has lacked since Rich Gannon's prime years. However, the worst-case scenario would be settling for Jordan Tyson, a gifted wide receiver but not the answer to the Raiders' quarterback dilemma. Vegas has already spent valuable draft capital on wideouts like Henry Ruggs III and Amari Cooper, with limited long-term success. Without a competent passer to utilize Tyson's talent, such a move would only continue the team's cycle of short-term gambles and underachievement. If the Raiders truly want to escape mediocrity, their future must begin under center, not at the sidelines of another failed offensive experiment. At number 2, the New York Jets find themselves once again staring at a familiar narrative. Talent on paper, disappointment on the field. Under the new leadership of Aaron Glenn and Darren Maugi, the Jets aim to turn the page in 2025. But their 2-7 record tells a different story, with Justin Fields failing to justify his $40 million contract and ranking among the league's least efficient quarterbacks. New York's offense has plummeted to the bottom of the NFL in passing production. The best-case scenario for Gang Green is also centered around Fernando Mendoza, whose arm strength, pocket awareness, and toughness against pressure could finally stabilize the quarterback position. Scouts have praised his poise in chaotic situations, describing him as the type of player who can deliver a strike even with a defender bearing down on him. Pairing Mendoza with the Jets' young playmakers like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall could spark the offensive rejuvenation fans have longed for. On the other hand, the worst-case scenario for New York would be reaching for Jeremiah Love, the top-rated running back from Notre Dame. While Love's explosiveness and production over 2,100 yards and 30 touchdowns are impressive, investing another high draft pick in a running back would be a costly mistake for a team with deeper foundational issues. The Jets' offensive line remains inconsistent, and no back can thrive behind subpar blocking or poor quarterback play. To truly reset their trajectory, New York must focus on quarterback development, not flashy skill players who can't solve their structural problems. At number 3, we turn our focus to the Cleveland Browns, a franchise perpetually caught in the crossfire of quarterback instability and draft day regret. Sitting at 2-7 and holding the number 4 slot in the 2026 NFL Draft, Cleveland's situation feels eerily familiar. The organization once again faces a critical decision that could either end its decades-long quarterback curse or deepen it. The best-case scenario would be securing Fernando Mendoza, whose intelligence and passing precision make him the ideal leader for a franchise desperate for reliability under center. Mendoza's exceptional football IQ allows him to read defenses post-snap and adjust quickly, making him a natural fit for the fast-paced complexity of the NFL. Analysts view him as a quarterback who can finally bring stability to a team that hasn't had a long-term starter since Bernie Kosar. His arrival could immediately end Cleveland's quarterback carousel and set the foundation for consistent playoff contention. However, the worst-case scenario would involve reaching for Ty Simpson, the Alabama signal caller ranked 19th overall. While talented, Simpson lacks Mendoza's refined skill set and hasn't shown enough consistency to justify a top 10 pick. Cleveland's history of risky quarterback selections like Johnny Manziel and Brandon Weeden serves as a painful reminder of what happens when potential outweighs readiness. With the franchise in desperate need of a sure thing, another reach could spell disaster. If the Browns want to shed their reputation as the NFL's eternal rebuilders, they must play it smart and secure the one quarterback who can truly change their future, Fernando Mendoza. Number 4, we have the New York Giants, a franchise once defined by Super Bowl glory, now mired in one of the bleakest stretches of its history. With a disappointing 2-8 record and their third top 6 draft pick in as many years, the Giants' downward spiral continues. The decision to stick with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen after 2024 proved disastrous, culminating in Daboll's firing as the team plummeted toward another lost season. However, a potential silver lining emerges in the form of the 2026 NFL Draft, where Big Blue could find a franchise-altering opportunity. The best-case scenario for New York is not drafting at all, but trading down from the number 1 overall pick to amass a treasure chest of draft capital. With rookie quarterback Jackson Dart showing flashes of becoming the next great Giants signal caller, the team wouldn't need to chase another quarterback. Instead, trading down could yield multiple first-rounders and key players, enabling a complete roster rebuild. Imagine surrounding Dart with elite talents like Jordan Tyson at wide receiver and Spencer Fano on the offensive line, all while building future flexibility. This move would echo Chicago's brilliant 2023 trade down that laid the groundwork for its resurgence. But the worst-case scenario would be falling outside the top 2 picks, losing the leverage to pull off such a blockbuster trade. Without the guarantee of Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore being available for potential trade partners, the return package would diminish drastically. Winning meaningless games down the stretch could cost New York millions in draft value and another year in the rebuild cycle. For the Giants, the path back to prominence isn't about chasing another savior. It's about playing the board smartly and cashing in when their value is at its peak. At number 5, we have the New Orleans Saints, a proud franchise now grappling with life after Derek Carr and a painful identity crisis. Sitting at 2-8, the Saints have endured a turbulent first season under new head coach Kellen Moore, whose offensive ingenuity has yet to translate into victories. Carr's unexpected retirement sent shockwaves through the organization, forcing Moore to turn to Spencer Rattler and later rookie Tyler Shaw, both of whom failed to ignite the offense. The best-case scenario for New Orleans would be landing Fernando Mendoza, the elite quarterback prospect out of Indiana. Mendoza's accuracy, poise, and leadership would be tailor-made for Moore's offensive system. Analysts already compare Mendoza's decision-making to that of top-tier NFL veterans, and under Moore's quarterback-friendly coaching, he could thrive instantly. This pick would instantly give the Saints the stability they've lacked since Drew Brees' retirement in 2020. Transforming them from NFC South afterthoughts into legitimate contenders. However, the worst-case scenario is missing out on the top quarterbacks altogether. The Saints have been competitive in several losses, and a late-season surge could push them out of the top 3 range, costing them the chance to draft Mendoza or Dante Moore. Without one of those elite passers, New Orleans could be forced to reach for mid-tier prospects like Garrett Nussmeier, Taylon Green, or Carson Beck, none of whom carry the same franchise-altering potential. With limited cap space and glaring roster gaps, another swing and miss at quarterback could doom Moore's tenure before it truly begins. The Saints' salvation lies not in moral victories, but in securing the franchise quarterback who can lead them into the next era of success. At number 6, we arrive at the Tennessee Titans, a franchise staring down history as it teeters on the edge of becoming the first team since Jacksonville to earn back-to-back number 1 overall picks. Their 1-8 record tells a story of dashed hopes and a young quarterback, Cam Ward, still struggling to find his NFL rhythm. After being drafted first overall in 2025, Ward's rookie campaign has been rocky, just 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a league-worst 38 sacks taken, but flashes of brilliance suggest he's not a lost cause. The best-case scenario for Tennessee is clear. Trade down from the number 1 pick and build the roster around Ward instead of replacing him. The Titans could command a historic haul from quarterback-needy teams like the Raiders or Jets, desperate to move up for Mendoza or Dante Moore. History supports this strategy. Tennessee executed a similar trade in 2016, which netted them players like Derrick Henry, Corey Davis, and Jonnu Smith, key contributors to multiple playoff runs. Replicating that success could yield multiple first-rounders and foundational starters to bolster both trenches and skill positions. Yet the worst-case scenario for the Titans would be staying put and selecting Ruben Bain Jr., a dominant Miami edge rusher who, while immensely talented, doesn't address the team's core issues. Bain's size, strength, and movement skills are NFL-ready, but his lack of explosive consistency makes him a risky #1 overall selection. Taking a defensive player at the top would fail to maximize Tennessee's draft leverage and prolong their rebuild. For the Titans, this offseason is about strategy, not desperation. The key to success lies in trading down, collecting assets, and finally building a complete team around Cam Ward rather than starting from scratch again. That wraps up our deep dive into the teams vying for the #1 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft and the best and worst-case scenarios for each franchise. These selections could completely reshape the future of these struggling clubs, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Comment below with your thoughts on who should go #1. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.